Did you know that there are at least 2 different ways to dry fast? That's right, there are soft dry fasts as well as hard dry fasts, but what's the real difference? Well, make sure you stick around to find out, because today we are going to be reviewing what the differences between a hard and soft dry fast are, as well as what we think is better for you. Dry fasting can be a very helpful tool in your life, but for some people the barrier of entry can be a bit steep, which is why we want to give you all the information possible. So, without further ado, hard dry fasts versus soft dry fasts. Which is better? What is dry fasting? Before we can get into the actual differences between a hard and soft dry fast, we first have to define what a dry fast is in the first place. While a general fast involves going without any source of food for an extended period of time, dry fasting takes things a step or two further. Dry fasting not only means you can't eat food, but also you can't consume any sort of fluids either. This is largely considered to be the most intense form of fasting, which is both good and bad. The positive here is that you are going to get some pretty spectacular results, even compared to regular fasting. On the flip side, you will have to be extra careful if you are going to try to dry fast, especially regularly, and you will probably have to adjust your regular diet accordingly. What's the difference? When it comes to a soft or hard dry fast, the differences aren't as severe as you may think. It's sort of like a difficulty setting, with the soft dry fasting being a little easier and a little more convenient. When you decide to take part in any dry fast, whether it's hard or soft, there are a few things that they have in common. For one, both limit the amount of food and drink you are able to consume to 0 throughout the fast. Dry fasts are more difficult than your regular fasts because you limit not only your food, but also your water consumption. Hard dry fasts crank it up a notch higher, though, with you being unable to interact with water all throughout the duration of the fast. That means you can't brush your teeth with water, take a shower, or do anything that involves water. A soft dry fast, on the other hand, doesn't have this limitation, and as a result, soft dry fasting is a bit easier on beginners. The point of a hard dry fast is to make sure that you don't even accidentally take in water. This is a much stricter form of fasting, and it requires more changes to your life than a soft dry fast would. Hard dry fasting could be best described as traditional, and it's the kind of dry fasting that has been done for much longer. Being completely away from water is a bit of work, of course, but it's also easier while you're in a fast to avoid even thinking about what you're missing out on. What is the benefit of a soft dry fast? Some people would argue that the greatest benefit of a soft dry fast is that you are able to more or less go about your routine as you typically would. Sometimes people can struggle when they commit to a hard dry fast, since you need items that normally you wouldn't consider, like toothpaste that doesn't require water. Soft dry fasting is the more forgiving version of dry fasting, so it's a lot more beginner-friendly. From a health point of view, you aren't necessarily, at least according to recent data, getting more or fewer benefits one way or the other. If you were going through with a dry fast strictly for the health benefits, then you could easily choose to do a soft dry fast and still get most, if not all, of the dry fasting results you normally would. If you are someone who feels like they truly want to experience a dry fast and are fully committed to the process, then a soft dry fast is more than acceptable. The only time people run into issues is when they are struggling to dry fast and are constantly interacting with water. What is a benefit of a hard dry fast? A lot of the hard dry fast versus soft dry fast debate comes down to which one suits your personality type better. Usually people that are more focused and determined benefit from a soft dry fast, as they don't really need to limit themselves at all in order to get the results. For people that maybe need a little push or just don't really like restraining themselves, a hard dry fast may actually be better. It's ultimately hard to say until you try it yourself, but fasts can be a deeply personal and almost existential experience for some people. You may accidentally learn something about yourself during the fast that may help you through this little debate. Hard dry fasting is more intense, and it requires you to shift your priorities around a little bit to accommodate it. A very schedule-oriented person would probably prefer avoiding this situation, but someone that is in it for the experience may actually prefer it. Are there more risks to dry fasting? There are risks involved with any sort of fasting, as it does put your body in a different state and you need to properly prepare for the fast beforehand. If you go into a fast while dehydrated or have eaten poorly for the last few days, your body may not be able to handle fasting, and it's really an activity you should only approach when you feel up for it. If you are a person with pre-existing conditions, you may consult your doctor before beginning a fast, as these can have an impact on how your body will react. As far as risks go for hard dry fasting, though, there aren't really any more than with the soft dry fast. The only big difference here is that your skin isn't getting any water for a while, but overall your body is still going the same amount of time without water whether you are hard or soft dry fasting. Hard dry fasting may have more rules and regulations, but for your body, it's the same kind of experience. What happens if I drink water during a dry fast? Unfortunately, this means that the fast itself is now over. Dry fasting is a lot different than your typical fast because it puts your body under a lot more stress. When your body isn't able to get hydrated, it really leans on the more inefficient of your cells to get water from. This series of events is very beneficial to our bodies and can result in weight loss, increased focus, and a whole lot more, which is why fasting is becoming a popular dieting technique. But if at any point you reintroduce water back into your system, you are going to halt that process immediately. Our body doesn't see the utility in reaching a state of autophagy, which is when your body uses its own resources to keep you running. So it's going to go back to normal as soon as you introduce food or water. The side effects of hard and dry fasting. When you're going through a dry fast, you may experience some things you aren't used to. This is because your body is entering into a new state of being, and that brings with it a lot of changes. One of the biggest reasons why people feel differently during and immediately following a dry fast is that it can really affect your hormonal levels. Our hormones can affect our way of thinking greatly, as well as our emotions and reaction to things, and fasting spikes them in a really big way. On top of these hormonal changes, you may also not be familiar with the feeling of hunger or thirst, at least in a more real way. People can sometimes struggle when they first start fasting because they can't turn the part of their mind that wants food or water off. Because of this, many people that get good at fasting are also good at activities like meditation, yoga, or other things that seek to link the physical and spiritual worlds. Which is better? The question is obviously tricky, as there aren't really all that much of a difference between hard and soft dry fasting in terms of results. When it comes to risk, time commitment, and reward, though, it feels like the answer here should be soft dry fasting. When you are dry fasting, there's a chance that you feel more irritable, less energetic, and a bit more forgetful too. Because of this, you may not want to also have to deal with not being able to shower the way you are used to, or even brush your teeth the same way. For many people, soft dry fasting just fits into their life better. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try out hard dry fasting if you are interested. Hard dry fasting is great for people who want to immerse themselves in a more traditional version of fasting, and one that takes the process very seriously. But because the health benefits of both are equal and the process is far easier with one, soft dry fasting has the advantage in the eyes of many. Are you interested in learning more about dry fasting? Check out our dry fasting playlist in the top right corner or the description below. It is sure to surprise you how beneficial dry fasting can be. What kind of dry fasting do you prefer or think that you would rather try? Let us know whether you like hard or soft dry fasting more in the comments below. Here are 2 more videos you might find interesting. Feel free to choose the one you like. If you enjoy the video, give it a like and share with your friends. And for more interesting videos on health, subscribe to the channel.